And let's go.
And now it's time for Bikes, Mics, and Idiots with your hosts, Ubi and Eric.
Alrighty, guys, here we go again. Back for another episode.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those days I can see.
Hey, but those are always fun days.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy. It's been a long, long day. So,
Super hot.
oh man, it's been insane. I'm just waiting for winter to come again so we can finally semi-cool down.
Cold in here?
Oh, hey, forgot this thing too.
It's okay. Now I can see you better. I'd rather it the other way.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably everyone agrees.
Yeah, well, you know.
But they have no choice.
No, but hey, we have been getting some good comments, so we want to thank you guys for jumping on there and keeping those comments coming. It's good stuff.
Hey, we don't know if they're being honest or not, but we would assume people actually know that we joke a lot on the show.
You would hope.
But you never know. Some people are kind of victim playing a lot. So,
Well, it happens.
but we've had a lot of technical difficulties lately.
Yes.
We recently had to postpone an episode, mostly just due to schedule conflicts,
Timing.
editing. Yeah, it just didn't kind of work out, so we had to postpone one. So
No,
we're
we
hoping
haven't
not
been
to-
able to get together either for a week, so
Yeah.
we're a little bit behind where as far as that goes. So
Yeah, so it'll probably be, this will probably be like an episode or two after that happened. But yeah, it just had to do with editing problems and schedule conflicts.
life.
Yeah, right. Well, and on top of it too, like my schedule's kind of changing too. Your schedule
My
changed,
schedule changed.
so it kind of made it difficult to try to get this back in
Yeah.
running order again. And on top of it, after coming back from nationals, trying to get back into a rhythm,
Yeah.
like I'm still not fully in rhythm.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Nationals was amazing, so I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good time.
It was a great time.
Yeah, it was at 86 bikes. Went to the Harley-Davidson Museum,
Yeah, it was.
and 180 people for dinner for the night
For
that we
the
did
banquet.
our banquet.
Yeah.
So
Well, it was
a lot. There's a lot of people.
based on some simple math I did really quickly. It was like 0.8 of a meter or 0.8 of a mile. Sorry,
It was this long.
I have Australia on the brain.
The motorcycle ride, the line of motorcycles was this long. It was amazing. Oh my god.
I have Australia on the brain. That's probably why.
Oh jeez, you're not kidding. Hey, you just broke the metric system. That person broke the internet.
That is true.
I don't even. I read the person's name and I
don't know the name.
I
know there's
don't
a lot
care.
of controversy with it,
No.
and we're obviously late to it as always.
Yeah.
We're always late to stuff, but probably has to do with our age. We get things a little later than most people.
Well, and I've just started to see it. I didn't watch any of the Olympics.
I didn't really
I just
either.
didn't have time.
It's-
I was in the middle of a move at work and changing locations, moving stuff around,
Well, to be
getting a new
honest-
office, getting a new vehicle, getting a new everything. So
Yeah, well, to be honest, I
Nightmare.
mean, the last few weeks for us have just been kind of all over the place. We
and I
just
went to
haven't
a
really-
day shift. Oh, I don't like
Or
it.
you.
I don't
Or you
like
having
it.
to try to live a normal
Well,
person life.
Honestly, it's like late mids, as early as I have to be to work.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I mean,
It's not too bad. I mean,
no.
the great thing about it is you get enough of afternoon
Yeah.
off that you can kind of do things.
Oh no,
before
I'll just come
anybody
home
else.
and fall asleep in a chair.
You know what? I've done that too. I do that a lot after work too. I'll just
Yeah.
go sit down, try to relax for a little bit, and just end up falling asleep on the couch. And I'm just like, I need to stop doing this.
Yeah, well, you know what? All I got to say is I think this little thing here, breakdance, is better than Australia.
Oh my god! So yeah, so that's a thing we were talking about. Like we said, we didn't really get to watch the Olympics. We were busy doing stuff, and so now we're kind of just getting caught up on stuff. And that came up.
Wow.
And
I mean, I have to give them applause for
they tried.
having the wherewithal and the intestinal fortitude to get in front of a world stage
Yeah, that's
and
true.
do that. you got bravery pills for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're brave to do that because
I mean, honestly, our podcast is called Bikes, Mikes, and Idiots.
for a reason.
You know, and we make a fool of ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, but it's me and you, and then we upload it. Like it's not like we're actually there.
Yeah,
like this
it's not
person's
live
this
happening.
person's like they're doing their routine and like twitching on the floor like they're having a seizure. And people are. And this is everybody in the crowd.
It was hilarious, though.
I don't think I've ever seen a score of 0 in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Somebody gets on the ice, does one twirl, and falls over, they get points. Like, I've never seen a straight 0.
So one of the guys at work actually was talking about that. He's like, she should have at least gotten points for the kangaroo. Oh, my goodness. I don't think I've seen something be memed so much as that.
Like,
You look it up, and it's
at
just
some
everywhere.
point, this is like what I've told people when they've got, like, it's not America's Got Talent. What's the other one? The Voice one.
The Voice? Oh,
Well, no,
American Idol?
American Idol. Like,
Oh, yeah.
some of those people come in there like, and you're like,
There's no way. Who put you up to this?
I know I'm a good singer. In what world? Like, no. Like, who told her dances were amazing? Like, whoever that
The
is.
people around
is
you really
terrible.
love you.
Oh, yeah.
They
If-
really
if
love to not hurt your feelings.
her friends, whatever, really must love her because she cannot dance.
So there's actually controversy about it.
Well, because it's an interpretive dance.
No, not just that. So apparently she's like a professor of dance or something like that. It gets crazier. So a couple of the guys at work had said, like, maybe they were just because her husband apparently is on the hiring board or the
Committee.
There we go. And so maybe it was just they wanted
nepotism. It's
maybe
all
they just
about
wanted a vacation,
nepotism.
a vacation to Paris.
She could have gone anyway.
It's very true.
And then before the event, go, oh my God, I sprained my back. It hurts really bad.
Yeah, I can't do this.
I can't do
the
this. I
moves.
hurt myself. Oh, okay, cool. Then you're done. Nobody's going to say anything. Like
Yeah, that was
that for the rest of her life. She
it's
will be
impressive.
known as the worst breakdancer in the world who got a 0 in the Olympics. Like,
that's
oh, if you had 4 people give you
what?
0, if you got 4 people who gave you zeros, you just created the Olympic rings. Maybe there's a reason behind what she did.
Hey, maybe. So I figured I would just look it up. Has anyone ever gotten zeros?
A 0. And it's going to be like, yep.
At the Olympics.
It's a breakdancer from Australia. I don't know what she's smoking down under.
Ray gun, that's what she called herself.
Ray gun. Oh, Jesus.
Let's see. No, it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
That doesn't even really come up as
You show up, you get points.
Olympic breaking. Yeah, I was just trying to see. I figured, I mean, we have this at our disposal. Might as well look to see by chance if anyone else has ever gotten
It doesn't
0, but
appear
it doesn't
so.
seem so. It doesn't.
Look up
seem
Chat
like-
GTP or GPT or whatever it
You know
is
what?
with my
I
dyslexia.
might have that. Yeah, with your dyslexia.
I switch. I
Those
always switch letters. There's nothing I can do about it. I've always done it.
You know what? I don't think you're the only one. I especially do it with numbers. Like if I'm reading a big number.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't even have to be a big number. It could be 3 numbers.
8675309.
That I remember all the time
You know why?
because of the song.
Because she's got my number.
Oh, look at you. Playboy over here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bring back the AI into the episode.
Oh, here we go. So yeah. So today I went and picked up a buddy dropping his bike off for some work. Got an electrical issue, and then we went out, had some breakfast, and then decided to go to one of the local bars in town and had a couple of drinks with some friends.
That sounds
Okay, what
like
do you got?
fun.
What do you got?
Sounds like you had a good day.
Yeah, it was
I
okay.
gotta
It was
refresh.
okay. I
I
didn't
gotta
do
refresh
lunch.
something.
We didn't get to do lunch today. Get too much stuff going on. Your schedule, my schedule didn't
Yeah,
jive.
our schedules are kind of wonky right now.
Yep.
Yes, there have been instances where athletes received scores of 0 at the Olympics, though it's relatively rare. In some sports, particularly in gymnastics or diving, a score of 0 can occur if the athlete fails to perform the required elements or executes a routine so poorly that it's deemed invalid. For example, in diving, a diver might receive a score of 0 if they fail to enter the water properly, such as by not completing a dive or hitting the water incorrectly.
Yeah, so belly flop.
So it didn't really give the...
So my
answer,
question
but
is,
it's
if you went up and did a flip into a cannonball, I bet you'd still get more than a 0.
Probably.
How do you enter the water incorrectly? I get with a dive, like there's a certain way to get,
Yeah,
but
they
oh,
don't
you've
want
entered it
to splash.
incorrectly. But I entered the water, didn't I? I mean, hopefully, if you're jumping off the diving board,
as long as you
hopefully
didn't
you're going
empty the
into the
pool.
water. Yeah.
As long as you didn't empty the pool. Have you seen those I don't even know if they call them memes because they're video.
Yeah.
But like where someone's jumping in the pool and then it's like...
Yeah, the
There's
atomic
like-
bomb goes off.
Yeah. Oh, have you ever belly flopped so bad?
I've belly flopped where it's knocked the wind out of me.
Where you're just red.
Yeah, it hurts.
It does. Surprisingly, water hurts.
And I did a forward flip one time and didn't get enough rotation and landed flat on my back.
On your back. Oh, that's the worst.
Like it was one of those, like you hit it and it was just, as soon as you jumped, you're like, oh no, and it's too late. It's too
there's
late.
nothing
You're
you
already
can do.
mid-rotation and just whack.
What do you do? So I've done that before too, and it's like, oh, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to get up to the water because
Yeah.
my back's just hurting so bad that you can't. swim
Believe me, if
properly.
you start breathing in water, you're gonna
find a way.
find a way to get out of there.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Why is that thing sitting there?
Didn't even notice that was there. Monchichi.
Yeah,
Apparently, that's a gift.
I know what it's from. Because when I hadn't cut my hair for like 3 or 4 weeks because I kept
Yeah.
forgetting to go to the barber, one of the guys
Yeah.
called me a munchichi, so they gave me that thing because it's got the furry hair just like I did.
So you're saying that should be on your side?
Yeah, but it's good right there.
It's just.
I just saw it staring at me, and I was wondering.
So that's from the era of dolls that are creepy.
Creepy dolls.
Jeez.
The
So
Chucky
did you?
doll. The
So
good
you have
guy's doll.
you guys said you have a sister, right? And you.
Yes. Oh, we used to mess with her so bad with her dolls.
So just one sister?
Yes.
Okay. So I had 2 sisters, and one of them I know had those kind of dolls too. And I was just like, nope, not going in there, not going in that room.
I'd
Especially
mess
when
with
I was a
her,
kid.
and I would run with eye hooks and fish line. I'd put them all out, and I would sit outside a room and pull on the fish line and make the doll's arms move.
That's I've seen videos like that.
You
You've
can
seen
do
like
some-
videos where people like
It's not
pull
hard.
them across.
It's really not hard if
Well,
you set
in the
up the eye
fishing
hooks
line,
right.
yeah. In the fishing line, you can't really see.
Yeah, especially at the dark when it's dark out.
Oh, that's just messed up. Like I've seen this.
It's like you'd move it where it would go. And you'd hear, and you let it back down real slow until it resets, and you get slack in the line, and you pull again.
That's messed up. I would burn the doll.
Oh, I mean, she knew once she went to grab it to get it out of there that there
Oh,
was
yeah.
fishing line on it. So
Still,
yeah, she got me good one time though.
what you do?
She put all my underwear on my ceiling fan and turned it on high. So I walked into my room, turned the lights on, the ceiling fan went on full out, and underwear flying everywhere. Well,
See, that's not as good. That's not as good as scaring.
no, it's
somebody,
not
though,
as
'cause
good as scaring, but it was still pretty funny because I was like, friggin' underwear flying everywhere. Like one of them landed on my face and like was hanging there. Oh,
So I have an unreasonable fear of Chucky. I love Chucky.
oh, never should have told me that.
Well, I figured it was good content, but
Yeah.
yeah, I have this unreasonable fear of Chucky for some reason. Like I've gotten way better about it now that I'm an adult.
Wanna play?
But nope.
Want to play?
You're going to go out
But-
to your car one day and I'm going to have a Chucky doll sitting in there.
I would hurt somebody. Something may
Wow.
break.
Such
yeah.
good ideas.
I should have never said it, but
No,
I figured
that's
it was.
good.
I
Yeah,
figured
well,
it was. I
it's-
figured it was good for content.
They're freaky.
Sure.
Like I had a Raggedy Andy doll. My sister had the Raggedy Ann doll. And if you ever know
Those
the
are
real,
creepy. Yeah, the real-
Annabelle?
Annabelle. Yeah, it's
Real
Raggedy Ann
Annabelle
doll.
was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
And it does. They didn't want to do that to the company, one, so they made it
But
look
it was
freakier.
a big
It was a
one.
big one, yeah.
It was not the. It was not
That
the
wasn't
little
size ones, but yeah.
creepy.
So my wife has actually seen the Warrens talk back when they were alive. She went to one of their presentation things, and they brought it out in a glass box,
Yeah.
locked in a glass box. They don't let anybody touch it.
Yeah. I wonder if that just has to do with. So you think about stuff like
Liability.
that. Is it?
Supposedly that the doll would possess you if you touched it, and Elizabeth Warren could handle it because of her connection with whatever.
But that's what I'm saying. It sometimes because there's a lot of scam people
Yeah.
out there, like with mediums and all that kind of thing. But you have
I like the largest better.
medium, not a medium.
Medium.
But like with mediums, all those kind of things. Sometimes there's a lot of scams with that. Do you think maybe it could just have something to do with trying to preserve the doll and kind of keep the mystery?
I think they were real.
So you believe in those kind of
Oh, absolutely.
like the hauntings kind of
Oh,
things?
absolutely.
Those are the creepier movies.
I'm from New York, like the Amityville Horror. You grew up knowing about that movie. Like that house, they ended up having to tear it down and redo it. Like
Yeah.
it still stands. It's still there, but they ended up renovating the whole thing to make it look different because people would come and like take pictures there and all that kind of.
And creepy stuff.
And it was not just one family. It was multiple families over a multitude of years that had issues with that house. Like that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's too much for me. Hold on one second.
I could just imagine. So
I'm moving the cord for these.
oh,
It's up against my leg at the adult table. That's widow children.
you got excited? Thought I was playing footsies with you?
Yeah, I was excited.
So those kind of houses, though, like there's stuff out in Arizona towards
Oh, yeah.
the west that they have that kind of
there's a road out here called Ghost Town Trail Road.
Oh, yeah.
and it has an old ghost town.
yeah, and then stuff in Bisbee,
Yeah.
that hotel. I still
I will
wanna
never
go.
stay there again ever.
Sounds like there's a story.
Oh, I saw stuff.
Did you really?
Oh, yes. So we went when my son was pretty young. So it was quite a few years ago. So he's 17 now. So, I mean, we're looking at 15, 16 years ago.
Long time ago. Not in the 90s, but long time
In the
ago.
early 2000s, no, 2020s.
Oh, no. So
God,
it'd be
yeah. No,
20,
no, because he's 18. So it'd be,
2010, late 2000s.
yeah,
There you go.
mid to late 2000s. So we went down there and stayed in this room. I didn't know anything about it. We stayed with my father and mother-in-law, and whatever. We go to bed, whatever, no big deal. And like I felt like I was getting watched at one part of the night. So I opened up my eyes and there was a face in the window, and I'm like, whatever. Like didn't freak me out. I'm like, turn the light on. Okay, nothing there. Okay,
It just
go
didn't
back to bed.
register.
And then I don't like my feet touched at all,
Yeah.
which is why I
don't-
just
don't
moved the
like
cable.
feet.
I don't like my feet to be touched.
No.
And it's because I'm really ticklish. And like, even when I've had massages, I tell
Good to
them,
know.
don't touch my feet.
Good to know.
Yeah, you touch my feet, I'll kick you in the face. I actually kicked a masseuse one time in the face accidentally because she
Did you
started
really?
rubbing my
It was
feet
like
and I
the-
jerked my leg and I smacked her
That's
in
in
the
a
face.
movie.
I don't know.
Oh, what is that? Either way. Sorry.
But anyway, so
Getting sidetracked.
we go, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling something touch my foot at the hotel. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what? Stop. Like, I thought it was touching my feet. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, stop. And I, like, sat up in bed,
Yeah.
and she's laying down asleep next to me, and there's a woman in a Victorian dress at the end of the bed. And I'm like,
You had to like
rubbing my
double
eyes a
think.
couple times. Like, I did that, like, 3 or 4 times where I rubbed my eyes, and I'm like,
Could you make out the whole face,
yes.
or was it kind of
Well,
just blurry?
it was kind of like
just
it was kind of like just a
silhouette.
The whole thing was a blur, but you could tell it was like a Victorian style dress. And so I was like, that's really weird, you know. And then like after doing a couple double takes and turn the light on, it's gone. So I'm like, okay,
maybe
I'm
it
just
was
having a dream. I've heard whatever. So I shut the light off, go back to bed. Don't think anything of it. All night it was just kind of weird stuff. I didn't sleep good. He didn't sleep good. My son was out like he didn't care.
Yeah.
So the next morning we go downstairs and like, you know, we're getting ready to check out and like, oh, we're going to check out. Like, oh, how was your stay? I'm like, honestly kind of weird.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I said I was, I said, I swear I don't believe this stuff, but I swear I saw somebody in a Victorian dress last night at the end of the bed. And she's like, oh, room, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, how'd you know that? Oh, you're not the first person. There's a log. People log their experiences. So would you like to log your experience? I'm like, yeah, I guess. So I go through and I start looking and I go back like 5. I just like grabbed a chunk of pages and flung it back.
Yeah.
That room, Victorian lady tickling married man's feet. Victorian lady tickling man's, like, entry after entry after entry. I'm like, that's like, before I was like kind of weird. It was just like, okay, more than one person, blah, blah. So the story of it was that she was a woman of the night who fell in love with the man who was paying. He was paying basically her for her to have that room.
Oh,
and he was a married man and told her, I will not leave you from my wife. So she always tickles or touches men's feet that are married and makes it very difficult for the women to sleep overnight.
But the wife slept fine.
No, she got up and was like, I slept like crap all night. I don't know why. I just slept like crap. She just couldn't know why.
Yeah.
But she was like super tired in the morning, and that's like everything. Yeah, wife was real tired this morning. Like, it was weird. So it's called the Copper Queen Hotel. So if you ever want to go, I think it's going under new ownership here soon. But so I don't even remember the room number because I've tried to erase that out of my memory.
I'm sure they would tell you if you wanted to.
I've tried to erase it out of my memory. I don't want to know. I will never go back there again, at least to stay overnight. I would go for breakfast at the cafe there because the cafe inside the hotel is actually pretty good.
It's beautiful area out there too.
Oh yeah, and I've been down in the mine, the Copper Queen mine. That's really cool. You can actually ride a rail car down into the mine, like whatever, how many hundreds of feet down you go into the mountain, and then they like take you have a little headlamp and
you experience the good old days.
Yeah.
So I've heard of that. I've never done the mine thing. You done it?
Mine's scary. Oh yeah. So we get down there and you're down there and like, okay, everybody reach up, put your hand on the switch here and turn it, and you turn it, and then it's dark. Like nobody has it on, and they're like, they have somebody behind you. Like there's like a little gate they close so that you don't go running. They're like, okay, everybody just stand here. Give yourself a second. Tell us when you can start to see.
Yeah.
And it's silent. It's silent. People start freaking out, and he turns his light on. He goes, you'll never see. It's too dark. There's literally no light down here.
That's kind of cool, though.
And then, everybody kind of figures out their lights, get them back on. And they're still, they cleaned out all the old dynamite boxes and stuff. But they were talking about how, like, for years down there, when they weren't using the mine, all of a sudden you'd hear a boom.
Yeah.
Down in the mountain because some of the nitroglycerin exploded. And you blew up a whole box of dynamite because that stuff's really, so like if you ever go, Arizona's full of old mines.
Yes.
So if you ever go to Arizona, you want to check out some of those old mines, just be aware if you see a box with little sticks, don't go near it.
Yeah.
Because if you even just step in that nitro, it can actually set it off and then you're going to be nothing left of you because that stuff's very volatile.
Yeah.
They literally said when they were getting it out, how like they basically put a basket in front of it and then go like all the way down the mine and off a different shaft and pull it, and then it would it would sometimes explode and shoot like stuff through. So like it was the only way to make it safe for us to go down there.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
So,
but
the idiots want to thank Sketchy Alias, one of our founding sponsors, for everything he has done for us. Sketchy works in vector-based design and has been working in the design field for 15 years.
His designs have been used on coins, apparel, websites, and logos. Sketchy is also a veteran who serves this great nation. Thank you for your friendship, work ethic, and service. That's funny that you talk about. So was that your first ever experience with something like that?
No, I mean, I've had things here and there that have always been weird, but never anything that I would truly have said, that's a ghost.
Yeah.
That's a ghost. Like that was my first like epiphany that, you know what, this stuff's real. And then I started watching Ghost Hunters and all that. So like
you go down rabbit holes. When
I'd
you start
like
doing
to
that.
go, honestly, I hate to say it, I'd like to go back and try to catch something on camera, but
so that's the crazy thing. So they have ghost hunters, they have all those kind of things, and a lot of that stuff is faked.
It's
been proven that it's been faked, but with the way the internet is now, you can never know.
No, because even if somebody
or not.
found something,
yeah,
oh no, it's just fake. It's a deep fake.
Well,
fake news. Fake
but,
news.
But you had all those people too, like there was videos all over the internet where people would be like pulling a chair with like the
string,
the
fish line,
Right.
monofilament line.
Yeah, pulling it to like make a scene and all this stuff. So there was a lot of fake stuff out there too. And
there's no benefit other than the hotel having a haunted room. But it was so many different handwritings and over such a weird period of time.
But there's a lot of stories with Bisbee, that are
Old West, it was a rough town.
oh yeah.
So like basically when the miners got there, it was like every mining town back in the day. You'd get there and, oh yeah, we're going to pay you your wages. Oh, but you got to buy everything here at this store and you got to live here. Yeah. So by the time they're done, they end up owing every dime that they've earned to the parent company.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's one of those, it
was
really
modern
an old
day.
town.
It was modern / American history slavery, just with exchanging money for it.
But you were saying back home, because you lived out east, which there's lots of stories.
Yeah.
And
Amityville is a very, very well-known one. There's a big psychiatric hospital in Pennsylvania that's a real big one.
Really?
Yep. Like a psych hospital, I could see that. Because some of the crap they did to those
people back in the day,
those patients is
with all
pretty,
the lobotomies.
Oh,
and those
let's just stick a big needle up your head and go.
It was more like an ice pick.
Oh yeah, they just
that's insane what they used to do. But
electroshock therapy.
Oh yeah,
they did that freaking shutter therapy where it flashes. Was that me or you?
That was you. But yeah, they did a lot of crazy stuff back in the day, and they didn't, they didn't have the concept of what we have now with science and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But
they did. They just didn't.
They just didn't care. Well, there's that too.
Hey, let's see if we can make this person really super compliant.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, but they did lobotomies also for people that were having like schizophrenia stuff like that too. So it was an attempt at science. An idea. They semi had an idea of what they were trying to do, but they didn't. They weren't as focused as what we have now with neurosurgeons and all that kind of thing.
And then technology and everything's gotten better. That I think that that has a lot to do with our understanding of the human body has gotten a lot better.
But yet we still don't know what consciousness is.
I do.
What's that?
It's the opposite of me when I've been drinking.
Well, those are different stories. I think it's still consciousness, just not
I still think the ghosts are freaky.
Freakier than UFOs?
Sorry.
Freakier than there are people coming back for you?
Yes, they're coming back. The probe is coming.
No, so
better get the lube out.
Ooh. Well, good thing we're in a garage. I'm sure that we have something. No,
the helicopter?
They're throwing the rope down for you.
Yeah.
No, so I think the whole ghost thing is I'm trying to find the best words for it, but it's a very intense thing for some people, but it's shrouded in so much, fake.
Well, it's so hard to prove something that you can't necessarily see.
That is true. Or that we don't have the technology yet to be able to measure.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they say with the electromagnet stuff, and there is, sometimes, who knows, solar flares, those kind of things. Yeah. I totally believe in spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call it, different dimension. Don't have to.
Dia de los Muertos.
That is actually awesome. So really random squirrel topic right now. Went shopping with my son to go grab some school stuff, some school clothes and all that stuff. And so I have kind of a Star Wars collection, random things, bunch of different stuff. Mm-hmm. One time when my parents went to Mexico, they brought me back 4 these big, huge piggy banks of it's Chewbacca, Han, Darth Vader, and a Stormtrooper. It's pretty awesome. But they obviously don't look perfect to movie stuff, but it's just a cool thought. So I have those up and a bunch of different Star Wars stuff that I have, and I collect those Funko Pop Star Wars stuff. Just kind of random things to collect. And ended up seeing they had a Blue Beetle like Dia de los Muertos, like face up Funko Pop. I was like, they had it for like $6. I was like, I'm buying it. Just got to. It's just
It
kind
is
of a
cool.
really random, and especially it goes with the area we're in
Well,
too.
Tucson has a phenomenal festival, the Dia de los Muertos parade and all that
Parade
kind
and
of
all
like,
that. Yeah,
and people go all out.
They really do.
Glow in the dark paint, like
yeah.
everything.
And some people do some phenomenal paint,
Yes.
like the face paint.
Yeah,
They do some
It
phenomenal
looks
face
crazy.
paint.
You almost think who's the professional doing that stuff? Like honestly.
But yeah, so it goes along with that too. And then you had Coco. That was a great
Yep.
movie.
It was.
loved
It was
that
a good
movie.
movie.
It was a good movie. But I think it's a territory thing.
Yeah, it
'Cause
could very
it's-
well be.
It's different than what you would experience back east
Yeah.
for ghosts, spirits, whatever you want to
Oh,
call
yeah.
it. But there's definitely a lot of stuff out here, especially because, like you said, it was Old West out here. You had
Yeah.
Tombstone.
A lot
you
of
have all those
people everywhere out here. I mean, that happens everywhere across the world, but there was a lot of death and destruction in the West.
Yes. So it probably just goes with the territory, but it's going to be different than what you would experience probably back east.
Yeah, because I never really. Those would be what I call old ghosts.
Old Coast Victorian
But I mean,
style.
that's the U.S. was created basically in 1776, but it was around for 300 years before that, basically.
Colonized back
Yep.
then and all that. So, and then you have all those
Well,
stories.
and the Native
with-
Americans believe in
Yeah.
spirits, the Great Spirit, and their ancestors, and
Well, and that's what I was about to say. The Native Americans, you have the ancient Indian burial grounds where they always end up saying like because sometimes you don't know. It's lost to time. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing there, and unless you're going through with like sonar to see what's under the soil, you don't know that there was burial ground there.
yeah.
And so they build stuff on it, and then all of a sudden stuff's going wrong, which is also a funny thing. It's really random, kind of on topic but off topic. That there's a lot of like skyscrapers and taller buildings that don't have a 13th floor. There's no 13 button.
Yep, they don't put a 13th floor on.
Well, and there's some that they do a 13th floor, but that's like where all the equipment
Corporate
is and all
office
that
equipment,
stuff. Yeah, just stuff for the elevators, mechanical things, whatever.
Yep.
They use it in there, but there's no 13th button. Which is
weird.
funny. You think of why is that a thing? Why is that such a superstitious type thing? We should get those kind of soundboards
Yeah, right.
for stuff like that.
Yeah, no,
You probably have
it's-
something like that on there.
It's pretty creepy though. Like there's a lot of superstitions. There's a lot of things that kind of play into everyday life.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, so
Like if I don't do the same routine every day, I screw things up. Like as soon as something gets out of routine, I'm like, damn it, I'm in trouble.
the
It's going to be one of those
superstition-
days.
Are you actually superstitious or just certain things?
I think I'm OCD. I think I'm just OCD.
Well,
on that,
OCD
but
kind of falls in that too, because I'm the same way. I'm not superstitious normally, but
Yeah.
like there's certain things like my OCD will kick in, and I'll just be like, I have to do this a certain way.
yeah.
You know, or
Like for me, I've been out camping out in the middle of nowhere, and like you hear that weird cry, and
you
like
don't know
you're
what
like,
it is.
I've never heard an animal do that before.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm
and that's
sure there's something.
Have you heard
that
jackrabbits
did-
and
they
rabbits?
scream like children.
It's insane.
It's
so like
scary.
you hear those kind of things, and then
Well, in mountain lions, if you hear them, holy crap, when they scream,
oh yeah, that's scary.
that's scary. That's the hairs go up on the neck, and your fight or flight kicks in real quick. You're like, where's the quickest way for me to get out of here?
So I actually have a really random mountain lion encounter. I was on an ATV and was out in the middle of a wash, riding through this wash, end up seeing a mountain lion. Didn't know it was a mountain lion. I thought it was a deer because like it.
Oh, the same
wash
color.
Well,
The
the
color
wash kind of
kinda
opened
seems,
up,
yeah.
and it was laying kind of on the bank under a tree, in a little bit of shade there. And I rolled up and I kind of looked and I was like, I was too far away. Plus, I didn't have my glasses on. And I was too far away to really make it out. But I was like, oh, is that a deer? And then I see it stand up and it starts moving. And I was like, oh, no, it's a mountain lion.
Yeah, and I
But
look
it-
like lunch.
Well, luckily, I was on the ATV. If
Yeah.
I had probably gotten off, it would have been
Yeah.
way worse. But it kind of, you could see that it kind of like was trying to figure me out. See what was
Yeah, I
going
was
on.
trying to decide if you were lunch.
Yeah.
Is he
But-
big enough to hang in this tree and keep for a couple of weeks?
So kind of scurried off after a little bit.
Scurried.
Scurried. Yes.
Because it was
Well,
scurred.
and so this was the because it was scurry. Oh, jeez. It's one of those days. It's one of those days. So I think when I think back on it, I'm like, that mountain lion might have been something might have been wrong with it because it was kind of more in the flats more than anything else. Like it
No,
was,
I've seen them in the flats as well. So
but usually they have like a place where they could den where I
usually
was
that's
at.
right in the heat. They
Yeah.
come down to the flats before the rains.
Oh,
So
I'm
once it
trying to
starts
remember what
raining,
time
they
of
come
year it
down
was.
and they come down because the wash is filled with water.
So, well, could have been that, but
But it could also be sick, or
I
or it
think
got
was-
booted out of the territory by a more dominant lion.
It could have been that. Either way. So I ran into
Big.
it. It scurried off. Didn't think anything of it. Told my buddies, just, hey, ran into this. Just heads up. Kept going because we weren't by each other. We kind of had communication to be able to talk to each other. And then keep going down this wash. No big deal. All of a sudden, something scurries across the wash. Just bounces across the wash, and I was like, "What the hell?" And realized it's the mountain lion again.
It's tracking you.
bounced across the wash. Well, I was the one driving. It's the one that took off. So
You
let's
were
say I was going
tracking
that
it.
direction.
Yeah.
It was almost like that. Like I was tracking it. It took off in that direction. Didn't think anything of it. Thought it just kind of scurried off into the flatland over here. I keep going, run into it. It pops out on this side again, runs across to this side. Okay, no big deal. Let my buddies know, hey, I think I ran into the same mountain lion again. Just,
Yeah.
heads up. Okay, keep going. Then run into it a third time.
That's not
And
good.
we're talking, so the first time, I was 30, 40 yards from it. And like I said, like when it was laying under the tree, I couldn't fully make it out what it was because how it was laying down. Once it stood up, I realized it was a mountain lion.
Excuse me.
Run into it a third time. But this time, instead of just taking off, it runs across the wash, gets behind some creosote bushes. Yeah, no joke. And we're talking. This was. At this time, when it came around the bushes, it was 15 yards from me.
No, thank you.
Just looking. Well, luckily the bush was there, but I could see it. It's enough, clearing that I could see
Yeah.
it, and
I
it's
don't
looking
care.
at me, and I was
no,
just like,
thank you.
"Okay, I got my gun,
Yeah, no
just in
thanks.
case." But yeah, so it kind of gave me a little look. It was looking around, kind of trying to figure out.
It's trying to
stood what
size
it
you
was.
up.
Yeah, well, luckily, like I said, I was on an ATV, so I think that
Well,
probably
but see,
saved
that's
me.
honestly, that was actually predator behavior. What it was doing is because you were in a wash, it was
Yeah.
going to the next point that it could find you.
Maybe,
So it was actually hunting you.
probably. Luckily, didn't see it after that third time, but
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah, that's
creep
the
me out
problem. You didn't realize it was right next to you in the wash when you stopped the next time,
Probably.
and it was just going.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's been out in the sun too long.
Oh,
I don't need.
Oh,
I don't need no beef jerky
Yeah.
today.
yeah.
But yeah, so random. Don't even know how we got onto the mountain lion topic.
Ghosts went to freaky things. Went to
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, so yeah, so being out in the desert.
Oh, the animals
being
camping.
Out, yeah,
Yeah.
being out in the desert, you hear random
Yeah.
noises.
And
Random,
then, like, you'll hear this noise. You'll be like, oh, my God, oh, this thing's huge. Oh, my God, what is it? It's a squirrel.
like the squirrel
Yeah.
I hit on the way to National.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so
Just really random.
we're driving in the middle of this highway, middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And a squirrel comes running across. I'm like, ooh, thank God I missed it. And I look in my side mirror, and I see him hit it with his bike, and it just,
Yeah. That was.
yeah,
that was
you kind of smoked it.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing I could do.
No.
By the time I saw it, it was already. And I wasn't gonna
Swerve.
swerve crazy out of the way to try to get out of that because
it's a squirrel.
it's. Yeah, it was probably better that I just kept
Squirrel.
going. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely got me. No, but with
Yeah, one of the guys said, yeah, it was on the side of the road going,
and now we've been demonetized
well.
for making fun of furry things. No, but on the whole ghost thing, have you ever experienced? I've had to accidentally hit it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Have you ever experienced just like random noises, or you're home alone and you hear
Yes.
something?
I've been sitting in the chair, dude, and I've been sitting there, and we're sitting also in the hair.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Where'd that come from?
That's how you know you're old, when you
Yeah.
wake yourself up with a fart.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Definitely done that. Like you're just falling asleep and then also, what was that?
That was actually not a bad one. That was a
That
good.
was
That was a
actually a
good
pretty
mouth
good
one.
one.
But yeah, that's. I've heard some weird stuff. Like, and the worst thing you can do is at night, if you're working as a law enforcement officer, is read a book like The Stand or Graveyard Shift from Stephen King. Anything Stephen King. If you read it at night, when you're by yourself,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you hear a branch scratch against the window. You're like, what is that? Everything turns into the next murdering thing that's trying to kill you.
Yeah, it's funny how you get into that. Like I love scary movies, horror movies, whatever you want to call them, because I think technically it's like different genres. Don't know. Don't really go that deep into it. But they don't make scary movies like they used to anymore.
No, they rely on blood and
Gore.
special effects. And there's still been some really good like thriller type movies that I've seen. I can't remember the names of any of them, but that's the problem I think with having Netflix and Paramount, HBO, whatever at your fingertips. Is you watch a movie like, dude, that was great. Hey, what's the next movie?
Yeah.
And you start trying to find the next movie.
Which, surprisingly, that movie Cabin in the Woods, did you ever see that? That was a great movie. That was actually a really good one. That's one of the few like newer ones that I'm like, that was actually good, well thought out. It wasn't the scariest movie.
Which one? I'm trying to remember what exactly that happened.
That's the one where it's like these people go rent out a cabin in the woods, and then there's like a special agent that's like letting out like certain scary things from underneath, and it's this huge like warehouse underneath with all the monsters and this.
Yeah, that's right. And it has like it's like a folded four thing of the cabin. Yeah. Trying to think. The other one I was thinking was Cabin Fever. I'm like, no, that's kind of a bad one. But when you started talking about how good it was, I was like, no, Cabin Fever wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. But yeah, no, Cabin in the Woods. I know exactly the one you're talking about now.
But I think
it preyed on their fear, and then all of a sudden it got out and they couldn't stop it. And
that was a good one. But I think the movies that are scary play on the real life experience type things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To where it's like the Conjuring type movies, or
well, and the scary thing is The Conjuring. All those are based on true stories. The Nun, The Conjuring, all those are based on true stories, which is the scariest part of it, because you're like,
see, but that's where it. I hate the whole based on true story movie things, because a lot of times you don't know how much.
Got a baby. I got a wee baby. Come say hello.
Game over.
Yep.
But you don't know how much of the actual story is
real and true, and that's
because a lot of it's for dramatic effect, or
and they have to. I mean, it's like, I think any type of drama movie kind of has to have some of that stuff built in. Like, I'm pretty sure, and this will be one of the few that I think does it. Like Apollo 13. I think what those guys went through couldn't have even been shown as scary as it really was.
Oh no, probably not.
Floating out in the middle of space with no power, you're running out of oxygen, your CO2 levels are way up, and then you've got all these people on the ground trying to figure out how to make you a CO2 scrubber to keep you alive. Like, if these guys don't get something, we're all dead in like 3 hours. Yeah, like that's pretty scary.
But it's not scary as like jump scary or
that's like true life scary. Like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Some of the other ones that I got, like, I watched one where like a kid got kidnapped. That's scary to me because I fear nothing more than something bad happening to my children. Oh yeah, like that to me is the scariest thing. That plays into those fears, like you talked about.
Father, protector, all that kind of thing.
Yep. And honestly, I don't know how. In situations that happen, I don't know how people keep their families together. Like, and a lot of times they don't. They end up getting divorces later on and so
Oh, yeah,
forth.
just because of the trauma,
The trauma and the stress. Like
and
every
there's
time
no-
it reminds you of them, and
and
you always look and right or wrong, people always look to place blame.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you need something to
Oh,
say.
you
it
said she
wasn't
could
my
stay
fault.
out later.
Yeah, to say it wasn't my fault, to kind of ease your conscience. It's a coping thing.
And I think in a lot of those situations, the parents are never at fault in most of those situations. It's
Okay, yeah,
it's
you
so
let her-
quick because a parent, you can literally turn your head, somebody grabs your kid and they're gone,
Yeah,
and you can't even tell. Like that's the craziest thing. Like I've seen even on TV, like these guys going and stealing babies on the streets in like Sao Paulo, Brazil,
yeah.
and Thailand and stuff. They literally ride up on a moped, grab your kid and gone.
isn't that crazy? So there was I don't know if they still kind of do this. I highly doubt it, but I know back in like the 90s and prior, probably early 2000s also, in Spain. So the kids' garments, like the onesies, all that kind of stuff, for the boys had like floral patterns on them too. Everything had like floral stuff on it. Everything was very kind of not unisex,
Yeah,
but it had semi unisex type
Yeah.
thing. And it was because apparently there was a huge thing happening where they were stealing young boys in Spain before during that time period. So they would do that because
and you know where they were going?
where?
Africa. To be turned into slaves.
Oh, okay. So you have a little more insight on it.
Well,
I never really looked too
Slavery
much into
right
it, but-
now is still alive in Africa. It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad there.
Well, I'm sure in a lot of other parts of the world as well. But
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest ones though. Like in the Congo, women are sold left, right, and center as commodities.
which is insane when you really think about it. But okay, I think people don't conceptualize. They believe they live in these first world countries, and they're like, "This is the standard of life."
Yeah,
this
and
is
it's
what-
not.
It's not.
It's because they
There's-
don't travel around the world to places that are not first world countries.
Well, it's not even just that. It also has to do with culture in those areas as well. Because if you think about it, we came from conquering people.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter where you are, what
every
what
people's
country-
been conquered by another.
Yeah, but that was the history of life. Was we were a conquering people.
Still
It's
is.
just- yeah. So,
A
but
little
people
bit
don't want to
less so
accept
now,
that.
but
Well,
yeah.
a little bit less so because there's a lot more first world countries where it's
No, there's more
civilized.
consciousness about this isn't right. We shouldn't be just going in and taking over other countries anymore.
Oh, there's that too.
Because colonization happened, until what, the late 1800s?
Sorry, there's a little spider right here.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need
He's
that in my
hanging right
life.
over your head still.
I don't need that in my life.
You know he's going to just keep going
With
back.
with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility.
You don't need the great
Yeah,
responsibility?
I don't need that.
Yeah, no.
Don't need that in my life. I already have enough responsibilities.
No, you don't.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's definitely one of those things that you have to think about. Like, I've been to some very third world countries. I've traveled a lot. And that's one thing I've been very lucky that I've been financially sound enough that I've been able to do that.
Which is awesome.
I've been to third world countries here in the Western Hemisphere. I've been to third world countries in, I guess, technically the Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
I've been to the Middle East a little bit. I've been to Europe a little bit. So you can see, and I don't go to tourist places.
Yeah.
Like, I do some touristy stuff, but I get down to the nitty gritty. I want to go see the neighborhoods that have been there forever. I'm more into history and the Aztec, and it's weird. Like, so I've done some Aztec tours and talked to
Aztec, Mayan,
Aztec people,
Incan.
Mayan, Incan, like all that. I've been down there for all those type of ruins and talking to the locals. And my Spanish is not great, but I speak enough that I can talk to them a little bit. And
Yeah.
and I'm asking questions, and they're like, "Nobody asked that question. I want to know."
I'm curious.
You know, and then it was funny on a cruise I went on. We went to a ruin, and we came back on the way back on the bus. They did like a little, like trivia thing from what you learned for the day, and I got every question but two of them right.
That's pretty
So
impressive.
like they were like, "Oh, and blah 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 blah," and they're like, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, And I said the answer. They're like, "You're right." So I kept getting all these free drink vouchers. I'm like, for free drinks, I'm going to win all day long.
Case, yeah.
And then finally
a lot.
somebody on the bus was like, "Would you just give somebody else a chance?" So I sat there and didn't say anything. Nobody knew. She looks around. The lady looks away, points at me, and I said, gave the answer. And that's right. Here's another free drink voucher. So I just waited until she looked at me and said, "Yep, I got. I want to say like 12 free drink vouchers."
That's pretty cool.
And then I passed them out to people on the bus.
Well, and then that's the funny thing too is when it comes to free something that you're winning for, you're like, "Oh, I definitely remember."
I'm in. Oh, I definitely remember this. But you didn't know it going in. I was just interested in. And the coolest thing about it is you're on this one spot where that was considered where they would do the ceremonies from. Mm-hmm. And I could talk to you literally in this tone of voice. And somebody at the other end was like, "Oh, really? That's pretty interesting." Like the acoustics, how those places were set up, the acoustics are amazing.
We want to thank one of our founding sponsors who helped make all of this possible. The Legion of St. Michael Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club International is a 501c3 charitable organization that focuses on first responders and military families in need.
The Legion of St. Michael was founded in 2014 in Chicago, Illinois, in memory of fallen officers. If you are interested in helping to support the Legion of St. Michael in their endeavors to assist first responders and military families, please reach out to a local chapter or contact the Idiots for a link for donations.
Yeah. Which is insane. You think about like these old cultures that had a better understanding.
Way more advanced than us in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, they had better understanding of certain things than we do.
Yep.
Which, that's why...
we don't need it. We don't need acoustics. You got a speaker.
That's true. We've advanced to a certain point where you don't need to do that.
Where you forget the physical
there's no
manifestations of it.
But we start losing a lot by doing that.
We do.
Which, at this point, we've talked so much about like the ghost stuff. I think this is going to be the ghost episode. Or the...
Oh.
Oh.
That's actually a ghost. That's more alien to me.
That is absolutely alien. I'm glad you know what it is, though. I'm glad you can read read pictures.
Yeah, but this is more ghosty. No, not so much.
No, that's Pac-Man.
No, that's my mother-in-law. I didn't say that.
Might need to cut that one.
Nah, don't cut it.
No, but
nobody knows her except me, and she'd laugh. She'd be like, "Oh, really? You're a dead man."
You're worth more dead than alive.
Absolutely. I absolutely am.
No, but so back on that whole ghost thing, I think we kind of squirreled off. Went really.
Well, I mean, it kind of went around though because it goes. We talked about ancient cultures, and they had their own spirit beliefs and chupacabra.
That's where I was gonna. That's where I was gonna go with it. Was these ancient cultures? So, like the whole medium thing, and like being in tune with the spirit world, or they've called it so many different things.
Yeah,
is probably getting lost with all the technology we have.
I think so because it's the same when somebody says, "Oh, like I've had people tell me, well, how do you believe in God? You're a smart guy. How do you believe in God? You can't see it."
Yeah.
Well, I can't see a subatomic particle either.
Yeah. Well,
even without
they made equipment.
They made equipment, but is that really what it's showing me?
Yeah. That's a very valid point.
And what I always tell them is I would rather believe in something than believe in nothing. So at worst, my belief in God and for me it's the Ten Commandments. For somebody else's religion, it's something else. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about God. I use religion. I use my Christian faith as a pathway to that.
Yeah.
And I believe in the Ten Commandments. Mm-hmm. I think they're a good. And have I messed some of them up? Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're human. So
absolutely,
no one's perfect.
But it gives me a guideline to live by. And if for some reason I'm wrong, and when I die there's nothing, then I just die like the other person does. Yeah. But if I'm right and they're wrong, and this is where I think all the religions, I really wish would get together and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, that one.
Whether it's Allah, God, Buddha, Jesus.
Well, Buddha's kind of a different.
Yeah,
Like
but
the ones the other three you're talking about are kind of
the three main religions,
and then Buddha's kind
all
of
your
over
big-
here is a little.
but still, they believe in a higher being.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether I think it's God or someone else thinks it's Allah or someone else thinks it's, oh God, I just totally blanked. Jesus or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
I believe in a higher power, and if I labeled it wrong, I apologize.
So I think that probably with the Matrix coming in back in the 90s and early
Yep.
2000s with all those Matrix movies and stuff like that with simulation theory
Yeah,
being a thing, I think a lot more people have started to kind of
Move that
lean
direction,
towards agnostic,
yeah,
which basically is just you believe in a higher power.
yep,
Because if you believe in simulation theory, technicality, you believe in a higher power because we're in a simulation. But yeah, no, I think there's probably some kind of connection.
Well, every major religion has the major flood.
Yeah.
They all have the famine. They all have,
So here's a kind of random thing on that. Could that just be? I know we've talked about it before.
Historical
Historical reference about
And it could be.
before, because
well,
a
except
lot
in
of people were
Christianity,
illiterate.
that's what God used to destroy the wicked.
Yes.
That's how the unbelievers were killed by Muhammad. So, but well, and honestly, the Quran and the Bible have a very large amount in common.
Yes.
The Quran believes Jesus was a person.
Yes.
They just
don't
think
believe he
Muhammad
was-
is the final prophet.
Yeah.
So there's a difference.
there's
there.
variation.
And I'll tell you, when I was in Qatar, they were the Muslim guys I was hanging out with there were some of the coolest guys on the planet. They were just awesome. They were good to us. There was no judgment, none of that fear that you have of like, oh my God, I'm in a Muslim country. I'm in trouble. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
None of that. None of that at all.
Which I think that just kind of comes down to
Very
we
modern
go
where
down-
I was too. Very modern where I was.
Oh, that too. But I think it also comes down to, I think so many people have played into this whole
They're bad. We're good.
they're bad, we're good, and this. I was going to say antagonistic. That's not the word I'm looking for, but essentially like this fighting of these cultures.
Yeah, and
But what it really comes down to is the whole Martin Luther King. It's the content of your character.
yes,
And
absolutely.
it doesn't matter what religion you are, what you.
No.
It's
Everybody has going to have different belief. Even you take two Christians from the same church together and ask them a question about religion, I guarantee you they're not going to have the same answer.
no, probably not.
There's going to be
especially-
slight variations of it because of their world experience and a life experience.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, I don't really talk about religion that much anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it kind of fits into the whole spirit thing because
Yes.
every religion has a spirit.
Spirit, afterlife,
They have
demons.
some sort of afterlife, some sort of pathway to that afterlife.
Yeah, some
Rules to live
so to
by.
say, different dimensional beings.
Yeah.
Being like angels, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Demons, stuff that we can't physically see for the
Yes.
most part. Usually, those kind of things. I think that is a very common thing in
Well,
a
and-
lot of those.
Native American culture has the same thing.
Yeah, they believe in a lot of spirit stuff
Yes,
as
they
well.
do.
And
Spirit world is very important to Native Americans, and
Yes.
it's cool to listen. I've talked to a few Native American people that I know that are very, very into their culture, which they should be. And just hearing their perception of the world, it's like, wow, that makes sense.
yeah,
Like it's a very real, very all around you ideas, and it's really awesome actually to talk to.
so that kind of brings me
Because you're
into
Native American as well.
I am
Well,
part Native
part
American.
Native
Yeah, I'm part Native American. I'm part Apache. Which
Oh, you're not just one of two white guys on this show?
yeah, well, not just one of two white guys on the show. You got a few different things in there. No, but I think have you ever thought of maybe because of all the technology, all that stuff, we've kind of lost touch with some of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Because And there's certain people that are like actual mediums, people that can sense certain things and
Or
see.
say they are.
Oh, well, yeah. There's the ones that are.
But then you see some of them like, and if it's not scripted, and I'm going to go if it's not scripted.
Yeah.
Some of the things they come up with, you're like, there's no way they could know that.
Yeah.
And you hear it and you're like,
Well,
like that Teresa Caputo or whatever that's on TV. She has a
I don't think I've
TV
ever
show
seen it.
on, like, my wife videotapes that stuff. And so we're watching it, and it's like, if this really is like true, like what she's doing, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like she'll say something and people just burst out crying, and you're like, she's like, oh, I was feeling that you had somebody who died really quickly, probably like a car accident, had a hard time breathing. They're like,
So have you ever seen the?
it's creepy. I don't like it.
Well, have you ever
Yeah.
seen? There's magicians that have done it to where they talk about. That's something that they use a lot. Being able to read the room, to be able to, and they can do that. A lot of magicians can actually do that to where they'll they start throwing kind of very vague things out there,
Well, and then you
kind
can
of read.
key in and read what people
And
are
then-
doing, and I see that. But like this person, like literally, she'll be like, she'll say, "Okay, bring me some sort of article from this person, and then I'll tell you what it is," you know. And she'll be like, "Oh yeah, the picture you have in your pocket is blah 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 blah," and the lady freaks out and pulls out a picture out of her pocket, and you're like. It could be anything. It could be aesthetic. Like one lady had a key or something, and it was like, yeah, that was the key to the shed that he used to work in, where he made you that gift that you really liked, like that. It's like a heart thing. And the lady's like, how'd you know that? Like that was the most precious thing to me. And she goes, yeah, and you lost it in the fire, right? And the lady's like, how the hell do you know this?
Yeah.
And you just sit there and you're like, every time I say it, I'm like, it's scripted. It's totally scripted. It's absolutely scripted. And then you're like, well, what if it's not? Like,
So that's the crazy thing. There's
It
probably
could
people
be.
that could actually do that.
Yeah.
Some of it, especially for TV and stuff like that, a lot of it's probably scripted.
more than likely, I mean, it's sad to think that. I'd really hope it wasn't, but
Well, but I can tell you from personal experiences too that I think there is actually people that can not so much key into certain things, but they have a certain
Feel.
connection,
Yeah.
feel certain things. Because I've experienced some crazy stuff in my life too, with seeing things, hearing things, feeling things. Like I'll tell you a really random one. So like my high school sweetheart type thing. She went on vacation with family. She's like, hey, can you come over and let my dog out?
keep talking. I'm listening.
Yeah. Can you let my dog out?
No.
And I was like, okay, yeah. So they were gone for about a week. I would go let her dog out.
So I'm going to make
And-
you edit the camera.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gonna be on me right now anyway. So, so I would go let her dog out, and one of the days, one of the days I had gone and let her dog out, but it had started raining. So I decided, you know what, I'll stay here for a little bit longer than just kind of letting her dog out, and sitting in the back porch with her dog, and it's raining. It's not raining super hard, and the closest neighbors. Sorry about that. So I was, it was in the rain, and so I was letting her dog out. I was in the rain. We're just chilling on the little patio there. And the nearest neighbors, like we kind of lived in an area that was a little more spread out than like these communities now where everything's like right next to each other. And I all of a sudden start hearing in the rain. It's not super hard rain, but enough to where like you wouldn't just be standing out there, and it sounds like coming from just the other side of her wall, of the backyard wall there. Sounds like someone just saying hello, hello. But this is daytime. Usually stuff like that happens at night where you misperceive what's going on or where kind of direction.
Well,
and
the
stuff
sound
is.
travels really good at night.
Yes, it does.
Versus
Well, and
daytime.
in the rain, technically, it does too. But So I ended up telling her, and she's like, "Oh, well, the neighbors, right over here have a couple little girls," because it sounded like a little girl's voice.
Oh. Mama.
Yeah, it got even freakier. So then I was like, "No," but it sounded like it was just on the other side of the wall, and that neighbor's like 150 yards away.
Yeah.
Like, it's a significant space. So I was like, there's no way that I could hear it that clearly. So she didn't really believe it. And then I remember one night I was leaving her house really late at night. Only her and her sister were home. I'm about to get in my car. And kind of from the same area, but around the garage, I just hear that blood-curdling scream, like the movie screams. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the old movie scream,
Yeah. That high, like psycho scream.
Yeah. Yeah. No, legit that kind of scream. I heard that night. So I freaked out. It's middle of the night. Like, it's pitch black out. Jumped in my car and then kind of started driving off.
Yeah. Good of you to check on everybody to make sure she was okay.
I started calling her immediately as I jumped in the car because I was just like, I don't know what's going on. Jumped in the car and started calling her. And I was like, hey, does your sister have a movie on? Are you guys watching a movie right now? Like, is there... Like, thinking maybe they had it up real loud, right after I left, right after I walked out. She's like, no, my sister's upstairs, this, that, and the other. And I was just like, oh, okay.
I heard another sound.
Maybe a little brown streak in the car.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was creepiest thing I heard. Well, then later come to find out, kind of did like the little fortune teller kind of thing, whatever.
The tarot?
No, it didn't do tarot. But
Tarot. I know it's tarot.
Merlot?
I know it's tarot. Merlot.
And they were like, yeah, this in this area, like some little girl had a really tragic, death there. And I was just like, oh God. Like,
Does that sound again?
I didn't tell them that
what
whole
happened?
story. They said that, and I was just like, oh God.
And they knew something was up, and that's when you're like, eh.
Yeah, I was like, oh God.
Yeah. That stuff's true. I have no doubt, like, those things happen. I just, it creeps me out. And honestly, it creeps me out a little bit because it's just like, ugh. Like,
the thought that you can, that kind of thing can happen.
Can reach from the other side to you.
Well, and that's the thing. That's where I was saying, like, the different dimensions, too, because it could just be fourth/fifth dimension, depending on what you believe, because some people say fourth dimension is time. So either way, it could be something fourth, fifth dimension.
We rabbit holed this episode. Like, we were going to talk about something completely different, and it didn't.
No, we totally.
Hey, we got to go with it though. But those things, like, I think, and I would love to see comments from people on this one about, like, have you had anything crazy happen? And we are ready. We've made it work to where we can accept calls.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get we'll get our phone number, guys, out to you guys.
Yeah. Well, that'll probably be coming pretty soon. We'll be able to do that and be able to do people to call in.
So you can do a call in, and we'd love to have you have an episode. And what we'll do is we'll announce it in time for you guys to get on an episode, and we'll get you on an episode to tell us about a thing that you had gone through. Because I love those stories. They're amazing.
And for this episode, I know we haven't said it in a while. We should probably start doing this a little more often, but like, subscribe, drop a comment, especially for this kind of thing. If you've ever experienced anything, or any of this kind of stuff's touched you, and you have a story you want to share, drop it in the comments.
We want to see it.
Yeah.
And if we find it interesting, we'll reach out to you, and we'll call you, and we'll have you jump on and talk to us about that experience.
And we can even do something to where we can call them, kind of do a quick interview with them and play it on a podcast if it's something that
that they're willing to work out.
Yeah, so if they're willing to work something out, we
can tape it and not do it live. So
and then we'll incorporate it into one of the next podcasts or something.
Yeah, because it would be cool to have other stories. Like, it's right now it's just two idiots talking on a mic. We want to get you guys involved. So
and that's the thing. I got so many more stories, and I'm sure you do too, about this kind of stuff. So I'm sure this is something we could hit.
I mean, there's even been things where I've just been sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden the hair, like every hair on your neck, your arms, your back stands up, and you're like, something's not right. I'm getting the hell out of here. There's a really good book on that. It's called The Gift of Fear, and it's by Gavin de Becker. And he is a great writer on this stuff.
Wait, I have a real quick question. You know how to read?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry.
So no, he's great. I actually met his crew. He actually runs like a security firm stuff now. So that reading it when I went to college, that book, The Gift of Fear, was a required reading in my class for anyone who was going into a law enforcement field. Because it teaches you how to trust instincts and not social norms. Like if something seems wrong to you or off to you, trust your instinct.
Yeah.
We've had thousands upon thousands, maybe even a millennium of years. We've had thousands of years of us developing
these instincts,
these protective instincts.
Or the reptile brain, is people call it fight or flight.
The reptile brain, fight or flight. That's ingrained in our bodies, and we teach people not to do it. Oh, no, the kid will be fine. If a kid's screaming and doesn't want to go to somebody because they're afraid of them, they pull away, just let it be.
Oh, yeah.
Let the kid have a fear.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a really interesting book. He has a couple of them, but he brings in real life situations where he talks to people that have been through really terrible things and said, did you ever think, well, yeah, I was kind of off, but I didn't want to be rude. And that's normally what it is they decide to do something that they felt society said they should do versus I'm just locking the door and leaving the guy outside.
Yeah.
Like I'm not letting him in.
Yeah, and people have those instincts.
Yep.
It's a natural.
Yep.
Natural.
And he talks about how to distinguish between the real fears. And he's like, I don't want you to walk around afraid of everything every day because that's not healthy either.
No.
But when you get those moments of, oh,
that didn't feel right.
Something's not right. Something's off.
Yeah.
Trust it. And it served me well. Like that's why with that whole thing, and I'm going to circle back to the
circle back.
Yeah. I've heard that once or twice. Yeah. I'm going to circle back to the whole thing in the hotel that freaked me out. Like, I knew something wasn't right, and that's why I was, like, doing double and triple takes, and, like, I was trying to convince myself that didn't happen to me.
That it was a dream.
That it was a dream or something not real, and no, I'm really awake, and no, she's sitting there, she's asleep still, and my kid's asleep over there, and this is way too detailed of a room. Because we always left the light in a bathroom on with the door cracked so that you can see in the middle of the night where you got to go if you got to go to the restroom. And even the light from the restroom, like
it was just everything was in
was in the right spot, and that's where I think my brain was like, it's not real.
Yeah,
I was like, no, it looks real, but I don't think it's real. No, I think it is real. I don't want it to be real. No, I think it's real. Oh, no. Yeah. And it just... Yeah. I mean, it goes even to the stories of, like, the 90-year-old lady moving her piano out of her house because it's her most beloved possession in the house.
Because it's on fire. And
because it's, the house is on fire. And she moves it out of her house and they're like, oh, how'd you move that out? I have no idea. And, like, humans have some stuff locked up in them.
Yeah,
from there, and you've seen it. I've seen it where 4 people lift up a car. It's a 2,000-pound car minimum, and 4 people picked it up. Not out of the realm of possibility.
Was it a little Fiat?
Smart car.
Yeah,
but I mean, like you've seen people pick up cars and pull people out of burning cars, or like rip doors open. Like those doors are designed not to be ripped open. That's why we have the jaws of life to tear crap open that's not supposed to be open. And this guy yanks on a door and rips it off the hinges. Like those things happen.
Yeah.
And it just, there's so much unlocked potential in the human body that I just wonder, like, are these things pictures of the past of the way we used to be? Like you think about how guys, like how did people not die when they were 5, how did people even survive without penicillin, doctors, all the stuff that we have now?
Well, and so
I think people were stronger back then.
Just a really random off topic on that with it, but penicillin was found because of the mold and all that kind of thing. Yep. People know about that, but there's all those herbal remedies and all that kind of stuff. And once they've like scientifically looked into it, they're like, oh well, this certain mushroom
does
has
the same thing. Yeah,
this much amount of penicillin.
Don't go out going eating mushrooms again.
Yeah.
You get in trouble.
Yeah, right.
But no, there's definitely, I think, herbal remedies are a real thing for sure.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Well,
That's how people lived.
They've scientifically proven it is
Yeah.
because like it has this much of what would be considered like a Tylenol, like a pain reliever.
Madoba.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, aspirin used to be made out of the bark of birch trees.
did not know that.
Aspirin's made out of birch trees.
See, guys, you learn things on this channel, on this podcast.
Yes, you do.
But on that note, like we said before,
Is it time to
you guys-
end already?
yeah, that's right. We're right in that area. Don't want to go too long. I know we can go on this topic.
Oh,
Forever.
we can sit here for 3 days and
we
do
can
this.
have multiple episodes.
But so
of
I
ghost
think
episodes.
what we should do is we should wait till we get comments on this episode, and then we'll start making some calls to people or reaching out to them and seeing if hey, do you want to get recorded for a call?
Yeah.
And we'll throw it on one of the podcasts
Yeah, because we could do a little pre-recorded section of the podcast
and play
be
it
like,
on
hey,
there
this is
and
our-
like,
this is
hey,
our little
this
interview.
was our interview and get it done. And we'd like to have you featured on the podcast.
Yeah, because we could do like a FaceTime call
Yep.
even, and that way we can have it recorded. You can be
Yep.
on the actual podcast as long as you guys are willing to do it. But like I said, if you guys had any crazy experiences, anything you want to share with us on this topic or any of the other topics we've hit, because we kind of went all over the
Except
place
for the
today.
megalodons.
Yeah, we haven't hit that one in a while.
No. We know more about Navy subs than we know about megalodons.
Yeah, apparently we do. But if you guys want to hit us up in the comments with any experiences you've ever had,
We'd
you know,
love to hear
something scary, because this is going to be kind of the scary episode. We can kind of do a few more of these
Yeah.
too. 'Cause-
No, I think we can hit this forever,
We can-
and we're getting close to Halloween,
yeah, that's true.
so we're getting there.
we could do a special Halloween one for it too.
We could do a Halloween pod with the smoke machine,
That would be awesome.
having people coming by.
We have a few good ideas. For
We got some
kinda
ideas coming up.
themed episodes,
Yarr.
and yeah, that too. The
It didn't
color
work out so well.
tuxedos.
Yes, absolutely.
So we can do that. But if you guys hit us up in the comments, you know, share your experiences, share stuff that, you know, something unexplained, even if it's
Yeah.
just a really random, you know, I was walking down the hallway and all of a sudden something flew across the room.
Yep.
You know, anything like that.
We want to hear it.
We want to hear.
We wanna hear it.
Because we can also hit it on a couple podcasts. We
Yeah.
could, if we get enough comments on it, we could even do just a comment episode where
Yeah.
we're just hitting topics of comments.
Absolutely.
So we could do that kind of thing. But like I said, we're kind of hitting that time. We don't want to go too long.
Yep.
We could do this for probably hours.
Yep.
A podcast. We could do a 6-7 hour podcast just on
Yes,
this
we
stuff.
could. So then what I want to say is live good,
Ride hard.
and we'll catch you next time.